It's now time to take a look at news stories making headlines around the globe. We begin here at home with some positive news as a major economic comeback for Nigeria as the nation recorded a balance of payments surplus of $6.83 billion in 2024. This marked a decisive turnaround from deficits of $3.34 billion in 2023 and $3.32 billion in 2022. The Central Bank of Nigeria announced the recovery in a statement issued yesterday by the Apex Bank's Acting Director, Corporate Communications, Mrs. Sidiali Hakama. The BOP is a record of all economic transactions between a country's residents and the rest of the world, including trade in goods and services, income flows, and capital transfers over a specific period. The central bank said the improvement reflected the impact of wide-ranging macroeconomic reforms, stronger trade performance, and renewed investor confidence in the nation's economy. Responding to the economic feat, CBN Governor Mr. Olayemi Cardoso said the positive turnaround in our external finances is evidence of effective policy implementation and our unwavering commitment to macroeconomic stability. Now, Rufai, that's quite a major turnaround coming from such a huge deficit now going into this balance of payment surplus. What do you make of this?
It's a welcome development. I'm very happy about it. It's a good story. Kudos to them. But I've seen some problem points I will talk about. But kudos to them. Petroleum imports declined to 23.2%. That's a very good one. And you know why? Because of the ingenuity of Nigerians. The man we are celebrating to also today, Alhaji Aliko Dangote. With that refinery coming on board, then we should even have the numbers lower than this. And that's why we are grateful to the federal government today that they've brought back that crude for Naira something. It should come back. We should be up and running as regards it. Personal remittances inflow rose to 20.9 billion. IMTOs 4.73 trillion. That's a good one. But the problem point I have is FDI. Because you see, you can't run an economy of IMTOs, a personal account surplus, and things like that alone. The real engineer of growth in any economy is FDI, foreign direct investment. And the number shows there's a decline to 1.08 billion. So the question I'd like to ask is, all the movement President Tinubu has been making, all the promises he got from Brazil and everything, where are they? I'm not going to count the Olam deal part of his success because that Olam deal had been in the works even long before now. So that Olam deal is out of it. But what about the promises he got? What about all the places he has gone? As long as FDI is still dropping and has declined to 1.08 billion, it shows that we have not started. And you know, with the Trump tariff coming up and the flip-flop of Trump and the economic effect around the world, the only thing that will be able to show a bellwether for productive activity going on is foreign direct investments. Those that have invested heavily as regards FDI in this country, a lot of them have pulled out. Look at Kimberly-Clark. The other day, they had a big factory about 4 years ago and they invested over $100 million in the corridor. They are out today because of the state of the economy. Look at the manufacturers complaining. And when you hear FDI, 1.08 billion for a country the size of Nigeria, then there's a big problem. So President Tinubu, I think all the people that you said they've pledged investment, because in your last presidential speech, you said they've pledged foreign direct investment worth 25 billion. I think this is the time to do a cold call and see how far are you bringing the money. The Brazilian, the Argentine, I'm not sure the Argentines were part of the Saudis and other countries. How far are you bringing the money? Other indicators look good. Yes, the surplus look very good. A very buoyant report coming in this morning. But the main sticking point out is that FDI. Because if you do not get FDI in, how can you jumpstart the economy at a time that there's a trade war going around the world? And the government too must also support small businesses to be able to reach productive capacity.
Okay, yeah, front page story. I think this is the newspaper, right? This morning. Well, on the surface of it, it looks like an encouraging, promising story. But we have to draw the line between propaganda and what is the truth. Is the Central Bank of Nigeria telling us the truth? Now, if you look at the details, they say that balance of payments surplus has been recorded to the tune of over $6 billion in the year 2024, an improvement on the deficit that we had in 2022 and 2023. Now, on the surface of it, we should jubilate. But the interrogation should be, well, this is the Central Bank of Nigeria telling us that balance of payment with regards to goods and services with the international community, remittances, bonds, and all of that have improved. Where is the evidence? I think that the basic thing is that they need to make the computation, the data, public, so that we, the Nigerian people, can say that we are being told the truth. Because you can put out a statement for propaganda reasons, it makes a front page, you say foreign reserves have increased, the macroeconomic indicators are in order, and all of that. Well, that's not how economic analysis works. We have to see the data. I would like to see a situation where they make that data available. And why is that data available? Why is availability important? Because what of our obligations? If it is just about raw figures in terms of what they are saying, okay, what of obligations? Nigeria is owing a lot. Nigeria is having issues with bonds. So are we being given net figures, or have they removed those obligations from the final figures that they are putting to the public? So it's not a thing that central bank can issue a press release and make front page. It's about the devil in the details. And when we see the devil in those details, we will be able to say, yes, this story is true. So everything has risen. Okay, FDI has declined and all of that. They can give any kind of reasons for all of that. But at the conclusion of that report, the CBN was saying this is good for everyday Nigerians, it is good for investors, it's good for businesses. At a time that even the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, MITI, is saying that SMEs are under threat. At a time that the Federal Ministry of Finance is also saying that, look, Trump tariffs, the erratic Trump tantrum, Trumpism that we have seen is giving problems to all economies in the world. Have they factored that into this story that they are pointing out? So these are the basic issues. And then the average Nigerians, it's not enough to just publish and say, oh, at the level of macroeconomics, these are the figures. Data must relate to the everyday life of the Nigerian. Look at what happened in the United States yesterday. President Trump decided to take a pause of 90 days. Immediately, there was a relief in the market. Everything changed. Nigeria is the only country where government will be giving you one set of data, the people will be feeling differently, the market will be behaving differently. So all of these things, all these rhetorical statements have no effect and have no consequence, except that we see the data and we can measure the impact in real terms. But to the extent of propaganda, I think this story is useful to say, oh, things are getting better, balance of trade payments, even remittances have improved. The same Nigerians that are abroad who are suffering heavily. Which remittances? We want to see the data for us to be able to do our own reasonable, intelligent, educated analysis and say that what the CBN is telling us is the truth, not propaganda. That's the major issue.
Absolutely. There are a number of concerns that arise from this development. All in all, a positive development if we can continue to share this information regularly, make it publicly available so that we can all assess, dissect, and process where things are and where things stand, where we're coming from and where we're going. The major highlights for me, of course, was the report of a decrease in petroleum imports by 23.2%. This was initially a little bit conflicting for me because we know just last month when the furore around the fallout from the Naira for crude deal reached a crescendo, we know that some of the big conversations happening at the time was that there was still an increase in petroleum imports. And this is one of the things that the Dangote refinery has been fighting, and of course even took the matter to court in saying that there shouldn't be a continued issuance of import licenses when the product is readily available locally. Well, according to the Central Bank of Nigeria, petrol imports have declined, and this is a welcome development. Of course, as Rufai has already said, since yesterday, FEC did meet and assured that Naira for crude will continue. What does that mean to us? That means that the pump price is supposed to reduce very soon. An important factor of that meeting as well was the fact that they assured that Naira for crude is not just a stopgap measure, it's not a temporary measure. It's supposed to be a sustained policy. So we hope to see that policy sustained. Also, kudos to the new management of NNPC, as of course we knew that under the last management, we saw the breakdown in relations and negotiations between the Dangote refinery. So if we can see some cohesion moving forward, this is positive for all involved. Now to gas exports, which got me quite excited. It spoke of gas exports rising by 48.3%. Again, something that needs to be unpacked because as of June 2024, the statistics were reporting that our gas production in Nigeria had dropped by 25%. So one wonders at what point there was a turnaround there. But truly, if there is a turnaround, then that's something to be celebrated because we know the potential of Nigerian gas. Nigeria holds the 8th largest gas reserves in the world. We know that we are evolving to clean energy, sustainable energy, and gas is a strategic source that we need to key into heavily in order to position ourselves in a strategic world where fossil fuels, we already see what's happening with the price of oil. We see how people are behaving towards coal as well. So gas is an important focus, and I hope continued investment and focus can happen in that sector. Now, on to other news stories today. Transcorp PLC has delivered an impressive financial year-on-year growth rate for 2024 with gross earnings of up to 408 billion naira. This reflects a 107% increase from 197 billion naira generated in 2023. This was announced at the 19th annual general meeting of the company in Abuja. Arise correspondent Georgina Ndukwe Ezeanika has details.
Transnational Corporation PLC has continued to maintain a robust growth trajectory over the years, in spite of Nigeria's topsy-turvy economic climate. At the 19th edition of the company's annual general meeting, the group declared that for the year ended December 31st, 2024, Transcorp's revenue surged by 107% to 408 billion naira compared to 197 billion naira in 2023. The company's profit before tax also saw a significant increase, surging by 132% to 136.7 billion naira compared to 58.8 billion naira last year, while the profit after tax rose by 188% year-on-year to 94.1 billion naira in 2024. The group's assets grew 42%, reaching 751.6 billion naira, an increase from 529.9 billion naira in 2023.
The combined market capitalization of Transcorp Group of Companies is over $3 billion. Over 4.5 trillion naira, and that excludes TransAfam, which have not been listed. That excludes Abuja Electric, which one day will be listed, and that excludes also the Transcorp Energy, owners of OPL 287. So my message for shareholders and investing public at large is come join the Transcorp Group and benefit and enjoy what IT shareholders are already having.
And what you're seeing here is a group that is very well run. So we're very mindful of our investments. Our people are the core of what we do, who we are, because really when your employees are happy, they give of themselves, and happiness yields results. So we have shareholders as well who have been very patient and they believe in what we're doing.
The chairman, Board of Directors, Transnational Corporation PLC, told journalists that the company's target of revolutionizing the power sector remains on track, with the power arm of the business yielding a revenue growth of 124%.
We know that to grow a $1 trillion economy, electricity must be fixed. That is not the case today. The power sector is owed a lot of money. Transcorp Group alone is owed over $400 million, which is over 600 billion naira. We want this paid so we can help actualize the president's vision for improving electricity supply to Nigeria.
Our expansion into our Transcorp Hilton Ikoyi, we do intend to kick off this year. It's been a while coming now. We'll kick off this year. We're making very good progress with the Lagos State as it relates to getting the approval. So our documents are right now undergoing processing for approval, and we believe in what's going on. No, Lagos is very, very big on progress, and having a 320-room 5-star hotel would just be perfect for our skyline.
At the annual general meeting, a total dividend of 1 naira per ordinary share was declared for shareholders, comprising the interim dividend of 40 kobo paid in August and a final dividend of 60 kobo per share.
This is the first time in the history of Transcorp PLC to pay naira dividend. For that, I'm very happy.
By God willing, next year we are going to see a lot of changes in terms of interim dividend and capital appreciation. Also, we are expecting final dividend to be increased compared to this year.
Transcorp Group is also exploring other areas of interest, diversifying into agriculture. The vision is to create an agro-industrial hub which will support food security and create employment. Georgina Ndukwezaika, Arise News.
Well, congratulations to Transcorp, who continue to move the milestone. Should I say the standard for the milestone, set the standard, progressive, groundbreaking, and it's always a pleasure to celebrate Nigerian businesses who continue to do outstanding, and also echo their plea for that 600 billion that is owed to Transcorp Power. I do hope it can be settled soon.